This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. I don't think there's any person on the planet that would say no to this statement. And the statement is, do you want to be positive? I don't think, or do you want to be optimistic? I don't think anybody would say, no, I don't want to be positive. No, I want to be negative. I want to be, live life in a nasty way. I just want to be miserable. No, I believe we all do. But many times we're not really sure how to do that. And we want to do it with authenticity and not just through
not in a forced way, and not like we have to pretend. We want to genuinely feel okay and not feel like we have to fake for anyone.
Like the rose-colored glasses. She's an amazing psychotherapist. I love her positivity, her energy, and it's so great to have her back with us. Dr. Hadass Harel is here. And how are you doing today?
I am actually better. I am better. I am genuinely feeling okay, which is exactly what we're talking about.
Oh.
This time of year, days are a little bit longer. Snow is melting. If you look out, the snow is melting. You can actually see sunlight. That is very comforting to me. Because we all go through some days when we say, will this ever end? Will things ever get better? Will my life ever turn around? And then comes this time. I was just telling you, I went back to the gym yesterday. I went and I dance at the gym. I dance everywhere, but that's what I do at the gym.
Well, you've been doing that since you were a little girl, right?
I've been dancing my whole life. I've been dancing for self-soothing. I used to get in a lot of trouble for dancing. I always dance. But one thing that I do is I dance in water. And water is, the gift of lymphatic flow, which really, the lymphatic system is fantastic because they're like little dump trucks that just take whatever is wrong, whatever is gunky, whatever is unhealthy in the body, and they just drive it out.
Yep.
Like you always see, say we have surgery, say we have an injury. The area is very swollen. Why is it swollen? Because all the lymph nodes in the area rush to the area, even not in the area, even in other parts of the body. They just rush over there and they just take whatever is not healthy, whatever is not good, and they just load it like little pickup trucks and they take it away and they eliminate it. So when you exercise in water, like attracts like, flow attracts flow. And it helps the gunk flow out of your body.
So if
you're moving in water, the elimination process of the gunk in your body becomes faster.
One of the most misunderstood or overlooked systems in the human body, and so important that, and we just think, well, got lymph nodes around my neck. When I go to the doctor, they feel them, see if they're swollen.
And thank goodness we have them.
But it's not just those, Das. We have many in our body of all different sizes.
We have them, and we have ways of reactivating them. It's worth getting a map of the lymphatic system, because if your body is not eliminating the gunk, it's worth getting a lymphatic massage or even learning how to reactivate your lymphatic hubs, because your body will cleanse better. Never mind that we all get upset if we, if we don't metabolize well. But if we don't metabolize well, we're not cleansing the junk in our body. So we can exercise until we're like really bloated. But if we cleanse, move, flow, And so the lymphatic flow just cleanses everything. We always talk about people that, for example, had radiation. They have bloated areas in the body until the lymph nodes think better of it and they decide to migrate back to the area. I will give an example, even though people don't like to think about illness. I had my thyroid removed. And so you can't tell, right? You can't tell I ever had anything removed out of that.
Nope.
Why? Because, and my doctor always jokes about that. When she does an ultrasound of this area, she sees the little lymph nodes like sailboats. They're and they do look like sailboats because they have a tassel with a little flag on top, and they're just sailing across because I have normal lymphatic activity in this area. A lot of people that had their thyroid removed have like a thick neck. I had a whole bunch of lymph nodes removed from the area, but as soon as they started migrating back to the area, my neck went back to being a normal neck.
Wow.
Yes, and that's what happens when you see people that had breast cancer. They sometimes have uneven arms. That's why they have lymphatic massage. So all the gunk of radiation, which they have to have in order to really make their body understand that the bad cells shouldn't live. And so we also need to clear that gunk. We need to clear both the bad cells and the poison we have to take in order to kill them. And so what clears that out of our body is the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is just amazing. And so when you see the swelling go down, means that enough lymph nodes somewhere in your body decided to migrate to the injured area and take care of the scarring, take care of the swelling, and and that's what lymphatic massage or work in water does. It makes lymph nodes in other areas of the body convinced that they're willing to go and colonize the injured area and kind of work it back to life.
Well, to your point, I had lymphatic massage, I want to say it was like 3 years ago. And what an eye opener, because it's such a light touch and goes against what we normally think when we hear the word massage, that they get in there, you have deep tissue. This is just,
it's not abusive. It's light, it's inviting, it calls them into the area. It's inviting.
what I equate it to, Hadass, is, let's say you have a garden hose and you shut the hose off and you're going to put the hose away. There's water inside the hose. This is, and sometimes we turn the hose upside down or we move it or whatever to get the water out of it. That's kind of the lymphatic system. It's always got to be moving. And that's the kind of the alarming part. The heart pumps blood through veins and arteries. It's a pump. You have a pump going on there. There is no pump.
Right.
The lymphatic system has none. The only pump is movement, or maybe massage.
Precisely. It's movement.
Yeah.
The more you move, the more it flows.
Yep. It's the truth.
That's the truth. It's really good to move. It's really good to never stay still.
Yeah. My eye opener to this whole thing is seniors. So they don't move like they used to. So how is that fluid getting by? You have to move. Otherwise, and somebody corrected me, a lymphatic drainage massage therapist, practitioner. I said, well, there's toxins in that. And then she said, no, not necessarily toxins. It's waste. There's waste material that needs to be moved through the system. And then you just get rid of it as you normally do in the bathroom, getting rid of that waste. But it's got to go. It's got to go somewhere.
You can also sweat it out. That's also an option.
True. True.
Yeah, but
Mm.
you just like you move it around, you move it around, you just transact it. So it's a healthy process, right? It can go from here to here to here to here, and it just fluidity. Well, we're not rigid because God help us. We don't want to be rigid in our body. We don't want to be rigid in our mind. We don't want to get calcified in any way. And we also, um, a lot of things in life make us uneven, make us imbalance, and we always want to restore balance.
Mm.
We
Hmm.
always want to restore even, and that's not even an injury, but when we do something that is more on one side than the other side, the body craves balancing. The body always craves restoration and balancing. That's what the body wants. That's
Just
what the body is asking for
l-
naturally.
let's talk about that for a second because I've always believed that to be in a perfect state, you need to be in balance. What does that mean? Right amount of exercise, right amount of sleep, the right amount of nutrition, right amount of social connections, just balance. And when something's off, it's going to set the other stuff off. Somebody said to me recently, balance is an illusion. You can't. You'll never be balanced. Try.
Perfect balance is an illusion.
Say that again.
Perfect balance is an illusion.
Fair enough.
Imperfection is an illusion.
Fair enough.
But, and you will like this, balance is a rhythm. Balance is like music. So what do you do with music? You balance and then you balance a little more. There's a balance is a tune,
Mm.
right? You always add the next tune. It never stops. Balance never stops. Balance is not some calcified, rigid, frozen in space. Balance bounces.
Mm.
It wiggles, it moves. Balance is a beautiful thing. It's not a straitjacket. It's not something that is yet another oppression. God help us on top of everything else. I have to be balanced too. What have you done to me? Balance is a beautiful, bouncy thing. When you're like, oh, let me walk down the garden path. There's something here, but there's also something here, and I have not noticed what's on the other side. That's balance.
Well, we're talking about being optimistic and positive. Do you think that once you've achieved some kind of fair amount of balance, that kind of falls into place and you feel a little bit more positive?
I feel that if we're not balanced, it's not a tragedy. We will just balance it out.
Mm.
I mean, what do we do? Say, an awful thing happens. We are very thirsty. Yesterday was a real tragedy. I walked in here in this space where I talk to people and terrible. I realized all my plants on that side were so thirsty, I think because there was sunlight coming that way. So what did I do? I watered them because they were more thirsty than the plants over here. That's what you do. That's balance.
Mm.
Sometimes those ones want more water than the ones over here because they just needed more water.
How can you determine what you need to be balanced?
They were looking dry. Their
Hmm.
leaves were folding up. So they didn't look like they liked living with me. Sometimes all they need is to sit over there and overhear the good conversations I have with people. But
Sure.
that was not enough, even though I thought I was inspiring. I thought my clients were more inspiring. They didn't like that. They didn't think that was sufficient. They needed water. They needed for me to pause and carry 2 jugs of water and water them.
They were off balance.
They were off balance. And it was only the ones over there. And before that, they were unhappy because we were seeing no sunlight for several days.
Hmm.
So we need different things at different times, even as humans. Sometimes we're distressed, sometimes we're worried, but we tend to, I think all of us are sometimes, that we're all, as we make up our personal narratives, we're all really histrionic sometimes. And we say, this is the end of the world, this will never be better. It will always be better. Maybe it will not be a lot better, but it will be a little better, and then it will be a little more better. And we all have been, once we're more than 3 years old, we've all been through worse than this. We've all been through really tough things, and we all have come around in ways that we're proud of.
Did I hear you clear? Did you just say that we've been through worse by the time we got to 3?
Yes.
I'm not saying no. I'm processing that. Can you explain it?
We have lived through just monumental things of surviving early childhood, which really is, it's earth-shattering in so many ways. I mean, most of us had parents, had losses, had to learn how to,
So
sometimes
let's go.
even learning how to eat.
Let's go here. Let's really dissect this whole thing because I agree with you. As I learn about
And
our
it's not
subconscious, the shadow.
intentional, but just people with usually good intentions, but they have to work, they have to survive, they have emotional dramas. Then they have children at the same time, and then us little people. Our worlds are really small. When you're a child, someone can just put you like a plant. They can turn you upside down, tell you you're completely wrong, tell you you're stupid, tell you you're
Mm,
bad.
mm.
You don't know that's not true. You don't have a center, a core to protect yourself. You don't know anything. Your world can shatter in a minute. You don't even think in language. When your really small sensory things shake you up.
Well, let me ask you this. What you're referring to about the most challenges we've ever gone to happen by the time we got to 3. Are you saying that because when we're born perfect? Everything's wonderful. Okay. A little challenge. They swat you on the butt, and you come out to this cold world. Mom took care of you up until that point.
Sometimes not even, because when you are, before you're born, you are one with the universe you live in. So if your mom experiences distress, you also experience
Well,
distress. So
that's where I'm going with this. That's yes, in a perfect world.
sometimes you're born with profound anxiety, or if your mom is ill, or if your mom smokes, or you can be born with imperfect lungs, or anything can happen to you physically, and you don't have the distinction between physical distress and emotional distress. So all that is already on your plate
So you've already the
before
odds
you
are stacked.
even arrived at
Yes,
personhood.
the odds are stacked against you if your mom went through some challenges before you were born. Let's say she had anxiety,
Precisely.
stress. Okay, so now you're born
Or fears, or she
already,
had yeah, hardship, that already is in you.
and
Not
now
just outside yourself, but within yourself. It's in your physical self.
you're a baby. Now you're 1, you're 2, And
now you develop some personhood and people are yelling at you and saying it's your fault. Some people may treat you, some people may have enough space and presence of mind to speak to you respectfully, but not necessarily. They may not foster your sense of self. If you're lucky, someone, at least one person, fosters your sense of self. But not everyone has that. So it's real. So that's why I'm saying now we have presence of mind and we can correct that, or we can find an external person who will correct that for us and we can internalize that. But when we're small, we don't necessarily have the ability to go search for a teacher or a mentor or someone that will say good things to us that we can take in. So we are picked by other people who may say horrible things to us. In adult life, we can say, I reject those thoughts. Those are not good thoughts. They are not building me up. They are actually tearing me down. So I will remove them. I will reject them. I will not take them in. Those are not the thoughts that I want in my head. I am not associating myself with those things that were said to me. But when you're small, you have no choice about what is said to you and what you consume verbally into your head. And events that occur to you. So really, to have survived, to have your consciousness survive childhood is already something to be very proud of. We are all amazing heroes, and we should just, sit on a pedestal and be so proud.
Agreed. I in the last number of years, I have this realization. I say, we're all blanket warriors. When you think about all the things, not just up until 3 years old, although you could include that, but all the stuff we've been through in life, all the changes, the medical, the surgeries, the relationship.
Why I'm saying 3 years old is by then, the sense of self is complete. After that, it already happens to, by 3, you don't dissociate. You are in this self. You know who you are. You actually call yourself by a name.
Yes, however,
Developmentally, you're complete.
but there's things that you've experienced up until that point, maybe not as a little human getting your needs met in terms of attention from your parents. And no, I'm not throwing any parents under the bus or anything.
If something happens, you actually leave the body. Physically leave the body. You actually can absentee yourself from the body. And if you develop that ability before 3 years old, you continue to do it into adult life even. Through childhood into adult life. So by 3 years old, your sense of attachment to the body is not, it's not a complete relationship. After that, it actually happens to someone who knows who they are.
I've heard all of this, but never presented the way you just did, Hadass. And I'm going to share that with others. You know, we've gone through the most trauma.
So I used to teach this. I don't currently teach this, but I mean, really, we should sit on a pedestal and say, I am all that.
The thing is here that I've reversed engineered the understanding where I know about our subconscious, the things we dealt with when we were kids, you know, traumas that we experience. I know that many will look at those things and say, well, my childhood was great. No traumas. Yeah, no, you had some things that for you as that little human, we all do.
Things.
But so I understand that. And also I understand how that stuff early in life pilots you as an adult. But I never thought of it as you experience the most traumas ever up until the age of 3. It's a,
Until you become a person, because once you become a person, you can actually say, no, this is not true.
mm,
You can say, listen, my whatever teacher, kindergarten teacher, grandmother said that no, I'm actually a good child.
but there's been other situations you've been involved with as that little human that were challenging, and it what might have been not even on purpose. Again, your parents, you might have needed
Precisely.
more attention as a little one, and your parents are busy and they're doing their thing and they still love you and they gave you attention, but maybe you needed a little bit more and they didn't even realize it. And that made a mark on you. Then there was something else. You went to the kitchen table, you went to grab that salt shaker, you finally started walking, and then somebody said, no, no, hey, whoa, put that down. Put that down. And you're like, I'm just exploring. I'm a little kid. That could be a trauma too. So many different ones.
Precisely.
But to a child, they're
And the
big.
messages that you get that you're not deserving or
Yeah.
that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
And you take that in because you're little and it imprints in you in a certain way.
Yep.
You take it in a certain way, and all that imprinting happens. So if it happens before 3, it happens in a certain way. And if it happens after 3, it happens in a different way. There's
Mm.
the age where things happen changes the way it imprints.
This is just some of the realizations you provide us when you do psychotherapy, and the answers. This is the answers to a lot of the challenges we have as adults. How do we find you, Hadass? How do we connect?
Well, I will give you my phone number. It's 508-631-7649. I'm also on WhatsApp at the same number. It's also possible to get me on all kinds of media, but it's also possible to just reach out to us here. Because if someone wants us to talk about a particular topic, we will talk about it, right?
I was just going to say that they told me a few moments ago that we have some emails from the last time we got together, so we don't have time to get to them now. We will
So we
next
will
time.
next time, right?
Instant feedback, Steve at gmail.com. Hadass,
Yeah.
great having you on here. Validation and information today for sure. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
It was great seeing you.
You too. Be well. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where
you.
executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.